Hello. Yes, I'm actually going to do an Agatha video. Shock horror. Just on my way to Euro car parts to pick up an air filter. Couldn't get one at my local place. But yeah, just going to do a basic service. Car's been sat for a while and it's been a while since I've actually changed the oil and stuff, so that's what we're on this morning. Trip to Euros, mess about with the car, nothing flash. Stick around though, because there's no Lee. Okay then, so here we go. Just fetch the filter from Euros. For future reference for me or anybody else, that's the Euros part number, alternative Euros part number, and that's the Unipart part number. Oil filters were that cheap, it got two in at my local place, so I bought both of them. It's QFL 0029, so I've got one for stock, and there's 10 litres of oil there, 2050. I have got some spark plugs somewhere, although Lee has advised me, because I'm not medically trained, don't mess about with the ignition system, you tit, was his exact words. If it's running, leave it alone. So I'm not going to mess about with points and stuff. I might whip the plugs out and just have a quick look at them. But first, we've got, you can see how tight we keep it to the side during the winter layup. We've now got to play the forward-backward game. So let's have a bit of time lapse. This is the normal resting position for the rest of the year. Obviously I can just get it straight in and out of the garage now. You can see the gap. Bit awkward for getting past. I have to be really careful when I'm getting camping stuff on and off that I don't scratch it, but there you go. A very rare look under my dirty engine bay. I'm not one of these clean engine people, although I will say we have had zero oil drop the whole of the winter, which for an A series is a mental. So yeah, going to let the oil drain off now. Obviously it will be completely down the bottom of the sump. It's going to take ages to drain, but I don't want to crank it over to warm it up when I can just leave it. There's that much in the bottom now. It's been sat for months. So as Lee likes to call it, here's my Fisher Price My First toolkit. I believe from memory it's around 15, 16, something like that for the sump. I'll try that one. Cool, that's tight. Who did that up? That was me, wasn't it? It's no trouble with not jacking it up. I can't get there. Let me get a bar. Bloody car's rolling. Did that go or was that me? No, that went. Excellent. Here we go. See that? It's very, very, not iron filey, but it's very sludgy. Gonna let you into a secret now. This is the first time that I've changed the oil since I had the car. You see, when I got the car it was on 32673. So I changed the oil and filter, and that would have been April 2020 according to my notes. So we're now in end of March 23. So it's had 2 full years in the car, although a lot of that it obviously sits for 6 months of the year. So I was never worried about the oil degradation as much as I suppose it's slightly hydroscopic maybe. So it's due a change. I should have done it last year, but I just got lazy because I've probably only done 1,000 miles. I think it's only done about 1,500. I'll tell you in a minute, bear with. 34,942, so what's that in my crap maths is 2,300 miles, give or take, on this oil. So yeah, the oil's not exactly bad, but obviously it doesn't get no good sitting. Anyway, filter off time. Hopefully we don't need the screwdriver of doom. It's obviously going to take ages to drain. I'm going to try and take the oil filter off without... that's quite loose actually, that's good. Hopefully that'll drop into that bucket. good. It's very black. I'm quite surprised really. But then again, it has been sitting a while. It does use a little oil. I think all A series do. It doesn't drop any, to be fair. I know they tend to leak out of you know, the end of the gearbox selector and stuff like this, but this one's quite good for not leaking oil, but it does burn a bit, I'm not gonna lie. I think when I bought the oil last time, I bought 10 litres and I've probably got 2 left at a push. So there you go, let's get that out of the way. I do like it when it's not messy. So don't forget, when you're disposing of old oil filters and stuff, you must do it in a responsible way. So I'm going to put it in an old dog food bag and in the wheelie bin, just to annoy Greta Thunberg. This is my litre can that I keep in the car. I'm just draining the last dregs of the old stuff out. I'll put it back in the original container just to keep, you never know if you have a massive hemorrhage or something, you've at least got some emergency oil. But I am going to carry a spare litre of the same oil that I'm putting in the car, so I'm just emptying that out. The oil's still dripping out, but while we're waiting, we'll get the filter on. So I'll take that off, put a smear of oil round, wetty fingy. Just you've all seen this a million times. Just basically lets the seal spin. So you tighten it up. I'll just put my finger in there and just put a little on the threads. Okay. You don't need to go mad with this. You saw how loose it was when it came off. Access is really good anyway. I'm just going hand tight for me, which is fairly tight. Don't forget, the torque setting is as tight as you can go till you strip the threads, then back it off half a turn. You can see that's virtually empty now. I'll change the air filter while we're just leaving that last drip, I think. Right, air filter on this is obviously dead easy. I know for a fact the air filter is absolutely minging. When I got the car, I had all the intentions of getting a filter, couldn't get one from the place, and we were in lockdown at the time, if you remember, and I've just never got round to it. I've periodically took it out, looked at my shame and gone, oh god, that's bad. But we'll address that now. They stink like a cup of tea going on in here, although Heather's hurt her knee. That's why we haven't gone camping. Yeah, we haven't gone camping this weekend, so I get an added bonus week. Let's bring this onto the bench. Right, loosen the top now. Didn't want to break it on camera and you all call me a bell end. You do that behind my back, obviously, that's fine. But you know, I'm specifically talking about Lee, who thinks I'm quite aggressive with tools. These and look, I'm going to stab myself with a screwdriver now. You can see what he means, I suppose, can't you? Right, we get him there. There we go. Prepare for the filter of death. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And we'll get this. They're slightly different. She might breathe a bit better, eh? And there we go. It's just as easy as that. Try and get this back in there. Not too much faffing. There we go. All good, all good. Put that on there, tighten that. Screw back up. While we're on the part that I'm allowed to do, unsupervised by my trained mechanic Lee, and just check the dash pot. Yep, there's some sucky going on there, so I'll leave that well alone. We're about drained now, I think. I'll put some more oil in. Yeah, so I thought I might just say why I'm doing all this. As I think I've mentioned in a chatty video a few weeks ago. It's the Allegro 50th birthday this year. 1973 was the first year the Allegro was released, May, and there's a big gathering at Gaydon on, I think it's the 14th of May. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. It's a Sunday, so you can get down there and have a look. We're hoping to get 50 or more Allegros. And on the Saturday, there's an Allegro fun day in Longbridge. So I'm going to both of them and actually stopping the night in Longbridge with Agatha. Then we're going to do a convoy down to Gaydon on the Sunday morning. So that'll be another video coming up of all that weekend's frivolities. So yeah, it's really why I'm giving her a bit of TLC. We've just passed, as I'm filming this, 3 years ownership by a few days. I did plan to get the car out last weekend and go for a drive, but things just got on top of me, and I've ended up, like I say, with a free weekend this weekend with Heather in herself. So it's worked out well, actually. I can run it now with fresh oil. Hopefully I'll go out for a drive tomorrow, but that'll be on a different video because I think this will be waffly enough, and that will just be me driving about. So I'll try and get another video out of me just driving the car about tomorrow. So yeah, that's all we're doing it for. Let's get this oil done. Right, I'm going to get a litre of this out into there first, just so this is a bit more manageable. Be very, very careful. I'm hunting rabbits. That's when you're used to 0-30 in modern cars, like the van. This looks immensely thick, but of course it's gearbox oil as well on the Allegro. So it's going to be thick, isn't it? Right, let's hopefully I haven't overcooked that. Yes, I have, you prick. Have I? Oh, I think I've winged it. Phew, that was close. I agree. In fact, I made myself look foolish for no reason. There's actually probably another drip could go in there, he says. Right. That will do. Put the lid back on, because somebody might knock it off the desk if he's unsupervised. Right, good. If you've ever watched Alex Child on All Things Alex, he has a cockerel to contend with, and he's forever going, fucking cockerel. Right? I have the barking dog of doom. If you've watched this channel for any amount of years, you'll know that my neighbours over the back leave their dog out, just fucking barking all the time. Jesus, it does my head in. Now, I'm not 100% sure the quantity of oil. I think it holds about 6 or 7 litres, so maybe not that much, but it definitely holds more than 5. So we'll gently put some in, taking forever. And then we'll just rely on the stick. Yeah, that's dripping down the thing. Let me pause you, because you don't want to see this. Unless it falls over, then you'd love it, wouldn't you? So I should have kept the camera running for shits and giggles. Yeah, it was taking that long to go down. I got over cocky, put a bit more in than I should, and it started coming back over the rocker cover. So I've just had to brake cleaner the engine off where the oil was running. So I'm going to try a different tact, which is use my 1 litre container and keep filling it up. I've got more control over it. Lesson learned. This is why I had Lee. Should have done this before, shouldn't I? A lot more control. You can see what I'm doing, and I can stop instantly. Probably actually quicker doing it this way as well. Right, while we're waiting for that oil to go down, it's taking quite a while to drop down. I'm going to tip the old engine oil away, and then I've had a little disaster. Not really. Bit of intrigue though, eh? The temperature sensor in the head had got a really dodgy Lucar on it, and I bought a replacement when I first got the car, put it on and it always used to overread, and I used to think the car was overheating. So I put the old one back on, even though the Lucar was really crappy, and I've basically just touched it and it's come corroded off. So I'm going to have to try and dig the replacement one out, because I know the car doesn't overheat, if that makes sense, and just sort of get used to it until I can get another one. I hate 2050. Right, let's get this dipped, see where we're at. Right, so it's just under the minimum. I'm going to wind it over, get the oil filter filled up, and check it again. It won't run because obviously the petrol's all drained back, so we'll be okay. That's it, the oil pressure light's off anyway. It does help if you look at the oil pressure light, not the alternator light. I'm in full on prick mood today, ain't I? I need a lee. Right, so if I just bring you in here while we let that oil settle, you can see there's my temperature sender. Got a really, I don't know if you can see the end of the Lucar on the end there. It's seen better days. Like I say, I have got one. Finding it now, this should be fun. Right, we're in the spares boxes. So that's a brake light switch. Yeah, there we go, that's what we want. So like I say, this one reads a bit high, but at least it'll work. Just going to get the old sender out. Forgetting, you dickhead, that there's water in there. Fucking knobhead. Would you have put that thing on, isn't it? Quick change job then. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Right, there we go. Antifreeze is slimy. So the oil level's on the minimum and the oil light's off. I'm going to attempt to start the car now. Obviously it's got, as I say, the petrol's right back at the tank, so it might take a while. It's also the battery doesn't sound great, so I might have to get some jump leads. We'll see. Hey, why don't you pull the choke out? Good thinking. I'll let it settle, I'll dip it again. Final top up. Then, because I'm doing so well today, I'll have a look at the spark plugs, but I'm going to go and get a cup of tea now. So just whipped the plugs out, well, one of them. They look pretty good. But I've got a set of new ones. I'm going to put them in anyway. I actually got these off eBay, look, and they're actually marked up Saab, believe it or not. They're still NGKs and the right number, but just searching through that part number, saw some labelled up Saab and they were a load cheaper, so we got them. So I'm going to put them in anyway. The book says 0.025, 0.65 millimeters. My feeler gauges say 0.25, 0.63 millimeters, which is close enough, and that one was okay, and these seem to be pre-gapped certainly around that anyway. So a little tip from me, but it's blatantly obvious: if you don't know the order of your leads, which I don't, do one at a time. Yeah. Again, if you can see that, focus, they're alright, they're not oily or anything. Just putting the last one back in. Obviously the good thing here is I've had it running after the layup on the old spark plugs, so consequently if it doesn't run now, we'll know it's only this that I've done wrong. Alright, I'm going to keep the old spark plugs in the boot with all my other spares. I've got like the old coil, old distributor cap and all that. Not only if something happens while I'm driving and they're sort of known to work, but also if I'm out and about with anybody else Allegro wise and you know something happens, they're taking up no room in the boot. Right, now it's been sat a while, we'll just have a dip on the oil, get this over with. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you can't see that, we're just under the minimum, so at least another litre in there I think. Yeah, I put about half a litre in so far. You want to see my new mug, don't you? I've had a Sports Direct bucket because you've got to have a lot of tea. Old channel favourite, I'm afraid. It got knocked in the washing up and chipped. I can't throw it away. This has been on many videos for Fox's sake. So it's now a garage ornament, but more tea. I think it holds something like a pint or maybe a bit more than 600 ml or something. It's an awesome cup of tea. Just for Alex on All Things Alex. Fellow Allegro and ambassador content, go and check him out. You've got to film yourself having a cup of tea. We're just over the minimum now. I'm going to run the car again just to get the oil circulating again, then do a final top up and dip, and also see if it starts with these new plugs in. Sticky starter motor. Put it in gear and rock it. You bastard. A tapping implement then. Old school. It did this last year after being laid up intermittently. Thing. I've disconnected the battery. I think this ain't helping. The terminal's loose on the starter. I'll try and take that off and clean it up. I'm not prepared that this has made any difference, but here we go. Twat. Well, clearly it wasn't that. It is just bollocks. Well, that's fun, isn't it? Right, I got it going, just literally kept flicking the starter until it caught. So it looks like I'm going to have to get a rebuild starter, I think. Unless it does exactly what it did last year, which was after sitting there, it pissed about and then it was okay after that. Right, there you go, just to show you the temperature gauge is actually working on that new sender. But what happens is you tend to sit in traffic and it goes up towards the red and it makes you very nervous. But of course when you put the old one in, it doesn't, which is why I swapped it back. I'll just have to keep my eye on it because, like I say, I know the car doesn't overheat. Okay, so I've got the car running. Oil levels all good now. That starter stuck again, so I had a right fanny around with it. Seems the only way to get it to actually disengage. I've tried hitting it, as you've seen. You have to put it in gear and just keep rocking it and then flicking the key, and eventually it catches. So I'm definitely going to have to investigate that. Maybe just order a starter up. It's obviously sticking, there's no point. I don't think they're going to be expensive. Right, so one last job I'm going to do. Check my tyre pressures. Should be 26 in the front, 28 in the rear. I run them slightly higher. I don't think it hurts, it helps the steering anyway. So I'll just check them. Right, so fronts have both got 27 in. It's good enough for me. Okay, back one. That's got, yeah, 29 in. So I'm about a pound over, which is good enough for me. There we go. Okay, that's me done. So we've done the oil filter, air filter, new spark plugs, tyre pressures. Obviously found a couple of faults which I kind of knew about. We've got the starter motor that was sticking last year that freed itself off, that started again. I'm going to have to try and find a replacement, I think, although like I say, they're easy to bump start, so I'm never going to be stuck. And yeah, that temperature sensor it's really annoying. I ran the car up to temperature, you know, off camera, and maybe I filmed it anyway, but we're well into the red before the fan kicks in, and that's just scary, even though I know that it's not overheating. So I'm gonna have to get a new temperature sender for the water temperature, look at the starter, and yeah, hopefully go out for a drive and see if we've got any shakedown issues. Problem is, it's just started hammering it down, which has kind of put me back. I've got some stuff to do outside this afternoon, so now if it's dry tomorrow, I'm going to end up doing that instead and not getting the car out. We'll just see. The good thing is I've got the service done, so any free weekend I get before Gaydon, I can go out for a run, so we should be okay. I'm fairly comfortable with the car anyway. I don't think there's an issue, but yeah, laying it up for 3 or 4 months a year never does it any good, I don't think. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm sure the proper mechanic will be back soon with some decent footage, not winging it like me, but you know, it's nice to catch up and fanny around in it. So until the next one, I'll see you later. Ta-da a bit.